that they were able to clock out of this thing was 43 miles an hour. Yeah, it just seems like even slowed down right here, you can see that the IFS doesn't really do much. There's not enough travel for it to be impactful. It really just hits the front of the skid and just, bounces off that way. So let's run through this top to bottom and then I'll answer you guys' questions, okay? So my first impressions, looks really good. I watched a YouTube video today and the top speed that they were able to clock out of this thing was 43 miles an hour. For a out of the box, ready to run car, put a battery in it, 43 is pretty quick. Now, is this gonna be a rock crawler? No, for sure not. It's not what it's made to do. It's not what the Rock Ray was made to do or the Baja Ray. I think that a lot of people will get this and maybe be a little disappointed because it's not going to be strong enough to be a basher, but it's also not going to be scale enough to be like a rock crawler. You're not going to get that high end, kind of control. I'm sure that the diffs aren't locked, so on and so forth. But looks wise, I really think they nailed it. Under the hood, I think is really, really interesting what they've done here. Obviously, they have the full RZR suspension in the back with like an actual metal plate, metal radius rods. It's pretty cool. It's exactly like a real RZR. They did a good job. Tires look good. I would pick up those tires if I was still like a 2.2 guy. I would pick those tires up and run them on like another 2.2 rig because I think even the plastic wheels look pretty good too. So that being said, obviously big skid, a lot like the Hammer Ray, or excuse me, not the Hammer Ray, the Rock Ray, but the Rock Ray, if I recall correctly, doesn't have this giant big platform. This big piece back here is exactly like you would see it on a like a Polaris RZR, and it's kind of unique to that as well because, I mean, let's be honest, like we have that suspension back there, so they had to redo the rear end of this car. It's not solid axle. This is all cool. Scale details are cool. So this is what's interesting is that basically the rear end is just this big ass piece of plastic, which is fine. I think that's cool. It's a lot of plastic there. And when it really boils down to it, it's just that hard plate there. Some immediate things that I think are going to be detrimental. These A-arms are not going to hold up for sure. Plastic tie rods, instantly going to be a failure point in terms of, not having good control. But it does mount to the lower arm. That's a plus. I really, really, really don't like these hub things that they keep adding on all these Losi cars and axial cars now. These like scale hub and rotor disc. It doesn't help. It just gets in the way. All in all, it looks very scale, but I'm very curious to see it actually get tossed around. The rear end looks absolutely beautiful. I think that this is perfect. If you're going for a RZR look, you got it. And this is the first time we've seen this kind of rear end come out in like a production style car, really ever. So this is cool. I like it. They're doing something new. Spectrum stuff is always junk. Just is what it is. I want to see the steering because the steering is really where like I kind of have beef with these things, and they're not going to do like a close up on it, I believe. So we can do kind of our own close up. Come on, give it to me. Okay, so here we have a servo in the front up there that actually does the steering, and it's a bell crank system, same as the old Rock Ray. I would buy one of these in a heartbeat if they'd fix the steering, but the steering in these things is just a joke. It's a joke. It doesn't work, and it's not fun. It has really poor control, and it's a real pain in the ass to work on, like an enormous, gigantic pain in the ass to work on. So I'm not going to get one, but they're cool. They look great. If I did get one, it'd probably sit on my shelf for a while and just look pretty because I really think that they, like, in terms of looking like a RZR, dude, you can't beat that. That is a cool looking little machine. That is just a really sharp machine. So let's go through some of the comments that you guys are saying. Colin says, I think it's overpriced and most likely underpowered. It's about 43 miles an hour, but it probably doesn't have very much of a low end. So take that with whatever. Colin says, does the Hammer Ray have 2.2s? Yes, and this does as well. So that should put it in perspective for you how big the car is, that's a 2.2 tire. That's pretty big. And here's a picture of the one that was delivered to RC Driver. Let me make sure I've got the right person. Yeah, it's RC Driver. It looks good. Masterflex, is IFS desirable for RC stuff? Okay, here's the thing. I don't think that IFS works really well on cars like this because at such a small scale, the car doesn't weigh enough up front to really take advantage of the fact that you have independent suspension. It all happens so fast that it really feels like the car is actually just kind of being thrown around, like jostled around. I just, it's just not like the IFS in the front for like these scale cars. Just to me, it's not there. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe make these things wider. Like the hammer ray is pretty wide. Like I've never played with this hammer ray, but I just, this one has way more ground clearance. It's more straight, lower ground clearance, like much, it's just not the performance machine that the hammer ray is going to be. And even then, I feel like the hammer ray still has the same front differential and the same steering problem. So it's not going to outperform this car. It's just going to look different. Colin says, I'm happy they kept IFS in the rear. If they had released a RZR with a solid axle in the back like they did the Can-Am from Axial a couple of years ago, it would have been a throwaway, not even worth looking at. All in all, the release was good. I didn't see anything from it like last night. I did not see any like spoilers or leaks or anything like that. One thing that I will note, which is a huge deal, it is $620. That's an expensive boy right there. So take that with a grain of salt. That's $620, not shipped, no tax. That's quite a bit. Collins has agreed the UDR is one of the few good IFS cars. For sure, the UDR, whatever they did to make that car balanced or whatnot, if you want an IFS RC, you have to pay the money for the UDR. The Yeti was crap. The Rock Ray is kind of crap. I have a Super Rock Ray in my garage. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it because I'm like kind of torn. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I've got one out there. I wish I had a UDR. Masterflex says, I know they're out there. I've seen screenshots of an X3. Yeah, the X3 is cool and beam. We just got to get a guy to finish it. But those are my initial thoughts. A little bit of a high price tag. Not going to be your high performer. And a lot of the YouTube videos that I've seen, these guys are hucking this thing around pretty good. Losi RC. Let's see. I'll show you here. We'll mute this. And these, like this guy right here, RC Driver Online, definitely worth a follow. This guy's yeeting this thing around, pretty good. So I would think that it's maybe tough enough to survive. But if you guys can see, like, on the scale of this car, it's really hard to, like, get the full, like, oh, I love this IFS, right? It seems just like this is kind of maybe chose a bad part of this video, but yeah, it just seems like even slowed down right here, you can see that the IFS doesn't really do much. There's not enough travel for it to be impactful. It really just hits the front of the skid and just, bounces off that way. But RC Driver, this is a really, really, really amazing video. You guys check it out. I'll even link it in chat so you guys can go back and give it a like. All right. But that's pretty much it. Interesting car. It looks really good. I'm excited. I think that this is only a good thing. I'm really excited to see aftermarket RC chassis builders build like a razor sharp custom 2-buggy out of this thing because it's fast. Someone will gear it down. They'll lock everything up, and I think that it might be able to be something really special. Put some wider, if it made like a widening kit, and then maybe put like some AR90s under it. We'll see. But as for a basher, just kind of tossing it around, thing looks pretty cool. For sure. Not the IFS I would really want. Ooh, did you see that front end? Let me show you why I said that front end is not what you want it to be. Right? Okay. Hang on. I'm going to make it full screen for you guys. Oh, man. I forgot how to make it go by seconds here. Okay. You guys see that front tire? She's folding down a little bit. Okay. Now she's hooked inside. I think move chat so you guys can see. So you're now steering completely inside. Oh, no. All right. Now look at it. Now it's completely facing the other direction. Going back in towards driver, and then finally straightens out. Those plastic tie rods, they just can't withstand. So yeah, hopefully Losi figures that out. I know it's just aftermarket support, but it does feel bad when the IFS on these cars just doesn't really do very good. Master Flex is just like a real razor when it lands too. Yup. Spedball. I don't know if cap means lying or telling the truth. I can't remember. I think it means lying, right? I'm not up to date on this shit. Oh, let's see. This guy actually like sends it pretty good. I mean, it's not broken by the end of this. I will say that at the end of this video, he does actually show you that the wheels are cracked, but you know, take that with whatever you want from it.